Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Housekeepers Podcast. I am your host, Ralph Peterson, and I am so happy to be bringing you the great, the famous Mike Malaski. Did I say that right? Malaski?
Ray Malaski, yeah.
I don't know. Ray Malaski. Is it Malaski?
Yeah. Yep, that's
Saying
right.
That right. It's a pretty cool last name. Malaski.
Thank you.
Where is that?
We fell into it through adoption.
Is that true?
My last name should be Boutwell, but it's Malaski, so we're sticking with it. And
I like everything about Malaski. Malaski. I don't know why. I just like it.
It's pretty rare.
It's super rare. I'm trying to think. There was a guy I knew in the Marine Corps who kind of had a name similar. It wasn't that, but it was kind of something ski at the end, which is just always a fun thing to say with a name.
Yeah.
Whatever ski. It's really great. How you doing, brother? You doing well?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm doing really well too. I'm super excited to talk to you because you're talking my language, right? So you're all about how to get more sales.
Absolutely.
Yep, how to get more engagements. I think your I quoted you today. I think your tagline is your sales suck or something.
Yeah, why your leads suck and how to fix it. That was a talk I did with Zen Maid on their Maid Summit this year.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, because I don't have to tell you, but growing a business is it's a lot of work. It's painful, it's struggling, and any little inside tip and help could be, greatly appreciated, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started 10 plus years ago as a cleaning business owner myself. So
all right, hold on. No, so I appreciate that. That's super great. Let's go even further back than that. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a suburb just outside of Detroit called Radford Township.
And you're still near there now, right? You're in Chicago?
No, actually, I'm north of Detroit now in a country setting called the city's Lapeer, Michigan.
Lapeer, Michigan. And so that's where you grew up, or no?
No, I grew up in Redford. It was the city. It's the fast-paced life. That wasn't what I wanted for my kids. So we moved out to the country, and now we live next to cows and deer.
I like it. Me too. No, I don't. I live on Long Island. Hey, in New York.
No judgment.
No, I hear you. Did you go to school in Detroit and everything, like high school in Detroit? Like that's.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did spend a year in Detroit public schools, but most of the time was in Redford, was in that suburb.
How was that growing up?
It was tough. It was a tough crowd. It wasn't like the Leave It to Beaver scenario. It was. So you had to kind of grow up fast and through the school of hard knocks, and that I wouldn't change it for the world, honestly. It wasn't ideal. That's why I moved out in the country for my kids, but it's made me who I am, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's really great. Did you work at all during high school? Did you have like a summer job or a side hustle at all, like a paper route, anything?
Yeah, so I started a paper route when I was 12.
Nice.
And I pretty much did that all the way up till I was about 18. And then I started working in factories. And when I started working in factories, I realized very quickly that I wasn't going to be working in factories no matter what.
What were you doing? What was it?
I had one job where the high-low would come and drop a bucket at the end of the table. This is third shift, keep in mind. And you would take a screw out of the bucket, and then you would take the nuts out of the bucket. You would screw the nuts on, screw the nuts off, throw them in the good or the bad tray, and just do that all night.
So like it worked or it didn't work?
Good. Yep. Good, bad, just rinse and repeat. I think that job lasted about 2 days.
Wow.
I've always been a dreamer. So, even if it was in school, I'm just like, my mind's off dreaming about possibilities and, the world. And everything that's out there. So when I was sitting there doing these like mind-numbing jobs, I didn't have any mental stimulation. And for me, I knew that wasn't going to do it. So I had to find another career. So from there, I ended up getting a job as a parts driver here in Lapeer, Michigan at a small dealership. And from there, I graduated to a parts counter person, then eventually a parts manager.
Oh, nice.
And then when the automotive industry got hit hard a few years back.
Was that 2006, 2007, 2008? Yep. That's when it really started. 2008, I think, is the largest.
Like, I mean, dealers were dropping like flies. And these dealers are the ones who were paying me, you know? So it's like, what are we doing? So I actually left to work for a automotive software company where I traveled the US and I trained the software company's users on how to utilize the system and implement the system into the car dealerships.
What was it? Is it like marketing software for dealerships? What kind of?
It was it's called DMS, Dealer Management System. And it essentially did every aspect of the dealer management, from sales to service to payroll to parts. It did it's super deep. It was really deep.
So it's kind of like a platform, an online platform for the dealership to run its own business kind of thing.
Yep.
I got it. Okay.
Exactly what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And I did that, and I was on the road a lot. Like, I would literally fly home on Friday. I would wash my clothes, spend some time with the family, Sunday fly out. So it was 5 days a week. I was on the road for God knows how long. Now there were, I got a couple promotions in between where I stayed at home longer later on in my career, but I knew, like, this is not my end goal, right? So this is not helping me fulfill all those dreams that I was thinking about in school when I wasn't paying attention to the teacher. So,
and traveling is a bear, right?
Oh,
I mean, traveling like that, that takes a toll on you.
It's rough. The hard, like the traveling, the job was simple, even though it's not simple. But to me, it was simple. The job of that was actually traveling and being away from my family and, having a wife and kids at home. It was just brutal on us, but I had to do what I had to do to feed us, so that grind of, not wanting to be where I was at when I was a kid in Redford was pushing me to do whatever I needed to do to make sure that my family was fed,
100%.
Yeah. And then from there, that's when our youngest kid went to school. So we had no kids in the house. So the wife was like, what do we do next? I've got this time. So what do we do? And I'm like, hey, let's, we're really good at cleaning. Let's start a cleaning company.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. I can almost guarantee that a high percentage of your listeners have probably had that same conversation.
No question. The I got to tell you, I've been doing this for a long time and meeting a lot of people. And if there's one area of a house that all these great ideas are born, it's the kitchen table.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Very true. So,
so you and your wife were going to do it together.
Yeah. So she was going to do the cleaning, and, I had no concept of running a cleaning company, even running a business at that stage. And I had no idea the journey that this thing was going to take me down. It was like, I couldn't even comprehend what I just started in my life. But I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about running a business. I knew my wife was a fabulous cleaner, like the best cleaner I've ever seen in my life. So I knew that part was going to be easy, but how do we do the rest? How do we get customers and all that? And, I went online and I started digging in, and I'm reading like, okay, where are people getting businesses? I signed up for yp.com. I fell for their tricks, spent 6 months with them, getting nothing. and then I dug. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out myself. I got to do more. So I read this post about Google My Business, and I'm like, okay, so I need a business profile there. So I went and I set one up. We're probably at this stage. We probably cleaned. No, actually, we haven't even cleaned a house yet. Before the Google My Business. So the Google My Business led to our first customer.
So it worked.
It did. Yeah. Like I didn't think it was going to work. I put my home number up there as the business number. I used my home address, which now is kind of not a good thing to do, but back then you could get away with it. And we were sitting there watching TV on the couch one day and my phone rang and I picked it up. I'm like, hello, I just think it's my dad or a friend or family. And they're like, hi, are you Missy's Maid's cleaning service? And I was like, yeah, hold on one sec. And I passed that phone off to the wife.
That's so great. You know what? That legit just happened to me the other day where I would say two things. Number one, I always answer my phone 24/7. It rings. I'm answering it. And I'm answering it as professional as possible because, in our business, in my business, sales is everything to me.
Absolutely.
And I'm cold calling people. So I never knew, I know people like, I would only answer the phone if I knew who was calling. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't even know what part of the country they're calling because I call everywhere. I'm calling constantly. So I always answer. And I had a person call me the other day, just randomly out of the blue, say, hey, I know you do some, cleaning business consulting. I would love to talk to you. I was like, let's go.
Right.
Answer that phone. That's the lesson. Answer that phone.
Yeah. Or have a process in place where that phone is answered in some form or fashion to understand that call's important to you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So she answers the phone. She gets her first client right off the bat.
She did, yeah. Hourly, I don't even know what we're charging. I'm thinking like, if you worked at a job, you make $10 an hour, let's do $10 an hour, and
oh my.
Yeah. I had to go through the whole pricing gambit thing and
you've literally been through it all.
Oh yeah.
When you start there, you're like, oh no, I start, do it all. Yeah.
Yeah. You were at the rock bottom of,
I had the luxury, and I didn't know it was a luxury at the time, of course, but I had the luxury of working for people who were in the business as well as running the business. And so I was like their number two. And so every time they were making cold calls or sales or bidding jobs, I was involved. They're like, no, look, this is how we bid the job. And they were always so super transparent with me that it gave me such a great leg up when I was like, oh, I can go bid a job. And,
Yeah.
You didn't get that. You didn't get that education.
No. And I'll tell you what, I paid deeply for that. I paid deeply. Our second customer. So I learned how to run Google ads myself. So I set up the Google My Business. Okay, we're good there. I went in and dug in and like, all right, how do you run ads? And back then it wasn't as competitive as it is now. So like a guy that knew nothing and kind of read tutorials to set up his own account actually was doing pretty good. And I used their ad credit. They still give ad credits, but not as big as they used to, but it was like a $500 credit. Your first $500 in ads was free. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to utilize this. And our first customer was a hoarder.
Oh,
outside of that from Google ads. Yeah. And super ambitious, dumb me, I'm like, I don't even know if we're going to be residential, if we're going to focus on, hoarding, if we're doing commercial. I mean, we're cleaning, right? And cleaning's cleaning, right?
Whatever comes your way, you're taking it.
Yeah. So we went out and looked at the house. It was a complete disaster. I had to rent dumpsters and stuff, but we charged her $3,500, which now you couldn't give me 20 grand to do that job. No way. But, we did it. Lesson learned, never again. and then from there, I started getting really good at it. I hired an SEO company who built our site and kind of got us ranking up there. And I followed what they did. And I started reading into SEO and what SEO is about and how to rank your website for terms organically.
Search engine optimization, for those who need to know what SEO stands for.
Yep. It's a way different landscape now than it was back then. It was a lot easier to do that, but I reverse engineered everything they did and then eventually took my own SEO over. So I'm basically managing the phone while I'm on the road traveling all over the US. I'm in an office manager's office and my phone's ringing. I'm like, I'll be right back, run out to the side of the dealership. Missy's Maids, this is Ray. Can I help you? Because I was the salesman too, and my wife was the cleaner. She wasn't a salesperson. So while I'm working my full-time job, which took a lot of time and energy out of me, I mean, it was 60 hours a week job, easy, without the travel. And then as soon as I got home from work, I'd be open my laptop and start working on the business. We got that to about we're about $15K per month. We had didn't know any processes, didn't have a training process in place. We're creating SOPs on the fly. Like, I was
gonna say, you're gonna crash and burn. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of revenue, which means it's a lot of work. And to not have these standardized processes, right?
It was tough, and then we went through the employee churn and all that. And, this 4 years later, we stayed at about 15, 20, I think was our peak under Missy's Maids. I decided, I'm like, all right, the whole world is moving to online. I'm going to solve this problem for myself. I need online pricing. I want online booking. I'm going to stop answering the phones, which is false. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
But, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is perfect. I'll put my pricing. They can book online and I don't have to talk to anybody anymore. And we'll just do customer support from there. So we rebranded the company to Maids in a Minute.
I like that name, Maids in a Minute. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. My wife picked that name. There's no way I could have been that creative. But the domain was available. So I'm like, yeah, we're snatching that up. And the whole premise was you can book online in 60 seconds, Maids in a Minute, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So we went online. And then we changed from employee to IC model. So we started finding independent contractors to sub the work out to get my wife out of the field and be more like a quality control person and customer relationship person more than a cleaner.
And that was your way of scaling?
Yeah, that was my way of scaling in my mind.
Sure.
Like if I could go back and redo it all, I would have done employees. I would have been way more prepared, but this is me just trying to figure it all out as we go. Right. I'm thinking employees are a pain in the butt. ICs, they already know how to clean. This will be easy. Which, I mean, it kind of was in some ways, but in others it wasn't because you didn't have the control, that you have with employees.
Yeah.
So, I ran that for about 4 years. Our first month we hit like 30K. I mean, we were cranking. My SEO presence was all over. And here in Michigan, we have a lot of little teeny towns, but there's lots of them. So you had in our area in Lapeer, it's rural. So we had to go out like to a 40-mile radius and service all these like little teeny areas all over. So I was dominating the SERPs, and the site is still dominating the SERPs to these days. Like if you Google house cleaning Fenton or house cleaning Milford or like any of the areas around us, we're like, bam, number one. But now I'm really good at ads. I'm really good at SEO. I'm really good at building websites.
So when did you make the transition? When did you decide to go, forget the cleaning, I'm going to go stick with the marketing and the ad creation?
It happened by accident. You know, the one thing that I can say about the cleaning community is we are freaking awesome.
No question.
The people in it are absolutely amazing. I love talking to them. I love working with them. I love seeing them have wonderful lifestyles. And I had a lot of friends in the cleaning business, and they were just struggling with all these things that I was good at, like running ads and doing websites. And they're like, hey, can you help? Ray, can you help? Ray, can you help? And of course, I can't say no, so I'm helping them, right? Meanwhile, I'm still working the full-time job, and I'm running 2 businesses now. So I've got the maid service, I've got marketing, and now I'm also doing my full-time job. So, you know, my mind, the end goal, what's the end goal? Where do I need to be? I knew it wasn't traveling, so I had to find a way out of that. I truly loved the marketing component of it. So I super hyper focused on the marketing. So much so I actually kind of let some of the cleaning business go a little bit. And it really came to a point like, okay, I got to sell this thing. I got to get rid of it. I can't give any of my energy to the cleaning business if I'm going to make this marketing thing work.
What was your wife doing at this time?
Enjoying life, not cleaning homes.
Yeah, so she stopped cleaning altogether because you went to the independent contractor model completely.
Yep.
Which took her out of the business.
Correct. Yeah. You know, it's a grind, and I think we all know this. You know,
of course. Well, any industry is a grind.
Sure.
I mean, it might be less of a, like marketing or what you're doing now might be less of a grind to you because you enjoy it, but somebody else is doing it right now and they hate it. It's like,
very true.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. Now she did handle, the subcontractors and scheduling and all that stuff. So, but I mean, for the most part, it was kind of like, it didn't take up a ton of her time to handle that. I was still handling the emails and stuff like that, and the leads coming in and the phone calls. And, if I could talk to myself, if today's self could talk to yesterday's self, I would have said, find a VA, get them to answer the phone, get them to deal with the cleaners, and just grow the hell out of that business and let it do itself organically. But, I put a couple feelers out. I'm like, hey, I'm ready to sell this thing. And I got a pretty good offer as a quick deal. We did it in like 45 days.
Wow.
And, she's a client to this day, actually, still of mine.
Wow. Oh, awesome. So you were able to not only sell your business, but retain her as a client for marketing purposes and branding and all that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of cool because that was my baby. I created it. And even when I was giving it up, I'm like, all right, I don't have to answer the phone anymore. That's great. But man, this is my baby,
1,000,000%.
But honestly, it's given her the ability. She was a single mom working for, I think a realtor or a broker or somebody as an assistant. And, it was an hourly job where now she had the freedom to work remotely wherever she wanted and raise her kid in her own house. And, it did wonderful things for her. So like, the world let it happen for a reason. I'm glad it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Then, the business is doing well for her. So, that's awesome. And that's all I really wanted was I didn't want it to die. That was the only thing that I didn't want,
I worked for a guy. I apologize. I worked for a guy who did the same thing. He started a cleaning company, cleaning homes. And I think technically we were all independent contractors, but we were very tethered to him and the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we were independent contractors, and meaning like we didn't get a payroll, but we did get paid based on the amount of homes we did. And so I think he was charging like $75 a home and we were getting 30 of it. So, and then there was also like extras that you could, if they had a pet or something, you'd get a couple extra bucks for that or whatever.
Right.
But generally, so you'd show up and they go, "Oh, you have 5 homes today," and you'd be quick math in your head's $150, right? You're like, "Woohoo!" And off you and off to the races. But then he sold his company, and the same thing, like struggled with the idea of selling it. Somebody bought it very quickly, and within like 90 days. They were asking him to buy it back because they lost all the clients. And I remember him just being so, I remember him being very mad, but he must have been super heartbroken over the whole idea, to have, you built up all this reputation, all this leadership capital, you put everything you have into it and, you hand it off to somebody and then they just destroy it in 90 days. It was so happy to hear that you had the opposite experience. That's really great.
Yeah. I definitely would have got over it, but it's that pinch would have been there. Like, man, I wish we could have done something, but
he did not buy it back. So
yeah, I've got my end goal, and my end goal is to get out of the company that I was working for, so I could work from home or work close to home, be with my family, raise my kids, attend their events. Like I missed birthdays, I missed holidays. So many things that I sacrificed for. So I did that for 9 years, full time. At this point, my business is picking up.
So let's talk about it now. So you eventually started to do what? Like you started getting really good at marketing. So what is this new business? I know it's called Bookin60, which is homage to Cleaning60, right?
Yeah. So Bookin60 is actually is a project that I'm working on now. So that's phase 2 of Get Cleaning Clicks. So Get Cleaning Clicks is my marketing brand. That's what's paying the bills. That's, me interacting with my clients and helping them build their brands and get more clients, things like that.
So what do you do for housekeeping or cleaning companies? What is the service you provide?
So pretty much we run paid ads, so Google ads, search engine optimization. So we will rank your website for your target audience and your market. We build websites and we do branding. So we can do logos and, graphic design work, that kind of stuff.
Oh, great. Great.
And then marketing automation too. So that's a huge component, but that's kind of tied into Bookin60, which is what we're working on now, which is the sales and automation, follow-up process, communication, that stuff.
Making it so not only are you first seen by your potential customer, but then if they like you, they can book easily and quickly. Correct. Yep. Without having to have much of a conversation.
Yeah, we automate a lot of that. The thing is, what's crazy? We're in 2021, and I never thought 10 years ago I wouldn't think I'd be saying this, but phone calls are still what sells. We're in an industry where cleaning is so personalized. You're touching people's stuff. You're in their homes. They want to know you're real, and they want a phone call. The majority.
100%. And I was in sales for a long time working for a cleaning company. And to say that all the salespeople that I worked with, including myself, to say that we thought making cold calls was beneath us and just the opposite way to get sales would be an understatement. We really looked down at cold calling. And here it is. Fast forward, I've been doing my own thing for 5 years now. And cold calling is the number one way I make money. Yeah. It's for B2B, when you're talking about business to business, there's no better way. Like no better way. It's super expensive for paid traffic. It works. Don't get me wrong, but your cost per lead is extremely high, but your revenue per customer is also much, much, much higher, which that's just the way the internet works. These trends, you can get organic leads through SEO, absolutely, but you're not going to get a ton of volume. And that's kind of
we actually had to make a decision in Missy's Maids. I hired Sharon Cohen. She was a consultant. I don't know if she's doing it anymore, but
a cleaning business consultant.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. And we're like, where do we go from here? Because again, we didn't know the industry. We were doing residential and commercial, and she goes, well, what's the most scalable to you? And me being the ads guy, I could scale paid on the residential side. I couldn't scale paid on the commercial side. There just wasn't enough volume there. So choice.
And to your earlier point, the B2B is a phone call.
Yep. Bingo.
And the B2C could easily be scale. You could easily target through Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, that kind of thing, Instagram.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. Like for residential, like plug and play, I can just blow your phones up. Commercial, I can never just blow your phones up. I can make leads come in, but it's not just going to blow your phones up. You have to do the manual outreach. You have to build your list. You have to target your list from multi-touch outreach, cold emails, phone calls, knocking on doors, shaking hands,
direct messages, nowadays when you can direct message with LinkedIn, Facebook, all that stuff, it works.
Yeah, it does. It does. I talked to a guy in California. He was calling me on a website. He had a commercial cleaning company that was doing $10 million and didn't have a website.
And again, it shows. You think that's unbelievable, right? I remember did I tell you about me? My ego, good Lord. I'm a professional speaker, and it pains me to even say that, but I'm a speaker. I like to go out and everything. And I remember when I first started speaking, and everyone's like, did you write a book? Because if you haven't written a book, then you're not an expert. And if you're not an expert, who the hell's paying you to speak? And I was speaking for a while and not having a book, right? So it's the same thing. It's the same kind of concept where people think you need to have a website in order to be successful. And if my customer's not going to the website anyway,
right,
then what do I need it for?
Yeah. And that's really it, because, commercial, hey, when's your next annual contract up? I'd love to bid on that with you. Well, it's coming up in October. Oh, do you mind if I reach out to you in October so we could bid on that? No, absolutely. Okay. Do you have a specific date, or is it just early or late October? Okay, it's early. I gotcha. All right. Thanks, Sally. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm looking forward to working with you and your company.
100%.
Bam. That's the deal. Now you got to win them in through the walkthrough and get them into the contract where, residential is 3 beds, 1 bath. Okay. It's $289 for a deep clean, $143 biweekly. Would you like to book it? Oh, do you have an availability Thursday? Yep. I got Thursday afternoon. Does that work? Yep. Okay, great.
Yep.
Done. What's your credit card information?
Exactly.
And
nowadays it's Venmo. What's your Venmo?
Yeah. Well,
we get paid a lot through Venmo right now.
Yeah. I mean, most cleaning companies, they have their systems in place that do all the billings and Maid and whoever else is out there. But yeah,
1,000,000%. So this is so interesting to me because, first of all, you're giving a lot of fantastic information. The idea that everybody understands that it is on you to reach out to potential clients. It doesn't matter how good your website is. Doesn't matter how much you're paying for Google ads. There are a lot of places where your outreach is the only thing that's going to make a difference. You can send them to your website. You can say, hey, follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and then they can get a, really great in-depth view of your business and of you going there. But obscurity is the number one problem I have. People don't know I exist.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And a lot of people say that, like, man, I wish I would have found you a couple of years ago. Do you know how many thousands I've spent on wasted advertising, and now you specialize in it for the cleaning industry? And I'm like, hey, you got me now. Let's fix this. That's exactly
Ray Malaski. Look him up. Ray Malaski. He's real. He's alive.
Yeah. Pinch me.
That's good. So walk me through a potential, somebody wants to book with you, somebody wants to work with you. What is it like? We just go in, we go, hey, this is our focus. These are our clients we're after.
So if you go to our website, getcleaningclicks.com, there's a strategy session that you could click. It's a little form that asks a little bit about your business. So this helps me dial in and know what problems I can solve for you and explain to you how to solve them. There's a couple things. One, it's easy to get to 20 grand a month. It's easy. You can do this without online marketing. So it's worth having a conversation and me helping you get in that direction to get that 20 grand. I'm not going to charge you anything for it. I do it for free because I love the industry and the people in it. If you're doing over 20,000 a month, or even if you're doing under 20 and you have the time and money to invest into it, I can help you scale that. Your lead process, your sales process, I can fix all that for you. And that's what that form does. It helps me know where you're at in your business so I know how I can help you.
Got it. It's a good idea.
And then we just do a face-to-face, kind of like what we're doing here. I look at your market, look at your branding, and, tell you what I think about the positioning and the competition and what the plan is to destroy them.
You mean overtake the competition, not actually destroy them. What's funny is, and not funny, haha, but funny, kind of just an odd thing. Every cleaning. So as you probably know, cleaning is the 7th largest industry in the world. And for one reason and one reason only, it's because it is so diverse and it's so complex and there's so much opportunity out there there's a guy, Casey Everton, he cleans garbage cans. There's a guy who's coming up on the show. He picks up after dogs. He's a dog scooper, pooper kind of guy. Yeah. It's what he makes his living doing. There's people who clean garages. There's people who clean stadiums, people who clean malls, parking lots, cities, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I clean healthcare, and I actually help commercial cleaning companies expand into healthcare. And one of the biggest misnomers that you have to kind of understand when you are going into healthcare is you're no longer competing with other cleaning companies. So your competition in Class A buildings, office cleaning, even residential cleaning. Well, maybe even residential cleaning. I would maybe even argue that residential cleaning is really not about outbidding other cleaning companies.
No.
I would say a residential cleaning company, you're trying to outbid a 15-year-old who, by the way, doesn't want to clean, right? So you got a parent with a couple of 15, 16-year-olds. They seem to be the easiest sale to me, right?
Yeah.
You can continue to beat your head against the wall and try to get her to pick up her socks, or we can come in once a week and help you out, right? What's $150 mean to you, honestly?
Right.
So your competition in I would argue to some extent, your competition in residential is the people who do it themselves. And that is exactly who the competition in healthcare is. And so a lot of
so they have the employees, they've got that overhead, and they do it all themselves. Managing the supplies. It requires probably a whole manager just to do this stuff.
1,000,000%. That's the other thing. A commercial cleaning company has a manager who oversees multiple sites. When you get into healthcare management, it's one manager per site. It's got to be. There is no, because it's 7 days a week. It's talk about an anchor, by the way. Not that I'm pitching you on healthcare, but it's very sticky. Healthcare is very sticky. You get the job, you keep the job. You know what I mean? You get the contract. It's very hard to lose a contract. I mean, it's easy to lose a contract if you don't do a good job. But most commercial cleaning companies who have the ability to get into healthcare, meaning they're already doing a pretty good number of sales. They've already got a lot of systems and processes in place. They already have somebody running payroll for them, right? I mean, these things are crucial in order to work in the healthcare. You have these, there is a certain level you have to be at before you're even eligible to work in healthcare. But once you're there, I mean, it's super, super sticky. It's one of those industries.
Yeah. So that's the thing, lifetime value, and a lot of people don't realize this when they're like, do I do commercial? Do I do residential? Do whatever you want to do. But,
there's money in both.
Yeah, there's definitely money in both. And there's pros and cons to both, right? Pro is for residential. I can just generate leads for you today. I can help you with those sales. The con is you need a lot of labor, and it's detailed labor, and you have to have a training process and a hiring process in place for us to help truly help you. Yeah. Like I could flood your inbox, but if you can't do these jobs, it's not going to help either of us.
Yeah. What's the point?
Commercial, pros and cons to that, right? So the con is it's that the lead generation isn't as scalable as residential. It's a slower process, but there's higher contract values. So one customer, you could literally gain one customer in commercial, and it's like having 40 customers in residential.
Agreed. So
pick your poison.
Where I see that, and I just love talking shop, by the way, if you can't tell. So I'm really enjoying this conversation. You know where I've seen that residential actually act like a commercial is here in New York City, where a residential housekeeper, house cleaner is able to get, 15, 20 accounts in the same building.
Oh, yeah.
So she shows up at one building 5 days a week and she just cleans apart. It's the same kind of strategy that you have in cleaning, where, that one building could be, an awful lot of revenue for you. So can one building, even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're just a standalone, single person doing the cleaning and doing the selling. I'd never seen that before until I moved into a 5-story building just out of the city in Westchester. And the housekeeper, when I moved in, they got all the signed paperwork and everything. And the last thing she gave me was the housekeeper's business card. She said, if you need a housekeeper ever, I was a single guy living by myself. I did not need a housekeeper.
Right.
But, when I moved out, I was like, I need that housekeeper. And so I'm chatting with her. She's like, no, I clean all the apartments here. I mean, there's only 60 apartments. She's cleaning them all.
Yeah.
What?
New York, New Jersey, those are pretty unique situations. True. With the way that the real estate is. I have a few clients out there, and, some of them literally put the cleaners in the truck, drive them because parking's horrible, drop them off. They go in, knock out 30, 40 customers. The driver comes and picks them back up and takes them to the next one. Same thing,
1,000,000%. Yeah.
It's definitely not Michigan where you have to drive 30 miles, because if you ever drove from JFK to New Jersey, that's like an hour drive, and it's only 5 miles.
Even an hour. I think it's 4 miles. No, it's
yeah.
It can be quite horrendous, but it does go to show that there are definitely different ways to scale. There's definitely different ways of looking at your, the cleaning industry. You really can be a standalone. And I think she was charging $100, and she had most people on every 2 weeks. She's doing 30 apartments a week. I mean, think about the amount of money she's making.
Yeah.
And she's by herself. Sometimes I saw her with her kid. So her kid was helping, right. 14, 15-year-old kid. How much she paying her? Probably not a lot, right? So,
no, it really depends. And that's the problem with the industry is like when you get those independents like that, they're either lifelong or they're not steady. You get the one that she's gonna do this till she's 60 years old, and that's her goal. And she can only handle so many clients, and she's maxed out, can't even take anymore. Yeah. Or you've got the one that, I'm new, I'm going to go do this. And then, Thursday, the dog's sick, Friday, the kid's sick, Monday, the car's broke down, and you're shifting your schedule. And that's really the difference when you get like a client looking for that peace of mind. Like, look, I don't care what the price is. Clean my house, show up on time, and don't give me headaches. Can you do those 3 things?
My friend John, I had him on the show maybe a week ago. I think it was last week. He said it eloquently. He said, the great thing about the cleaning business is it's easy to get into. And the worst thing about the cleaning business is it's easy to get into.
Yep. Amen. Amen. Right? And from that, you see that churn,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's funny too. The challenge of scaling, even from you're the one doing the business and getting the business, to having one extra person.
Yeah.
That's not a relative. That's not your kid. That's not your cousin. Super challenging. But that is the only way to get to the next level.
It is, you know, a lot of my clients early on were startups. And what I found was that they weren't ready for me. And I didn't even know it. They didn't know it. And I'd get them on and bam, these leads are coming in. They're like, wait a minute, I got to answer the phone. I'm like, well, yeah, you got to answer the phone. And they're like, I can't hire fast enough. I'm like, okay, well, you know, maybe this is a bad time. Let's reevaluate the situation.
Ray, I don't know if you've ever tried to answer the phone and vacuum at the same time, but it's a challenge. You know?
Luckily, you don't want me cleaning your house. Let me tell you that. So no, I've never did.
Very interesting though, that there's that recognition that sometimes people, and again, you know, I'll go right back to the healthcare example. I talk to people all the time about whether or not they want to go into healthcare, and it only takes about 4 or 5 questions. I go, well, you may not be ready for you. You might be okay to do doctor's offices and maybe do some independent living places, or even some senior care, some assisted living. You might be able to get away with, but hospitals, long-term care, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to be a serious player. You've
got to be a little better put together. Yeah, you've got to have some real good infrastructure. This is a highly regulated by the government industry. Healthcare is super regulated. Yeah.
I figure there's probably a pretty strong vetting process. You know, it's like in the marketing industry, franchises. What I found is they won't just deal with a marketing company. You have to have so many employees to handle their franchises. So, you know, you've got to be doing 50, 100,000 a month to even for them to even deal with you, period. You know, you can't just be a good guy in your basement doing marketing and pick up a franchise and run with it. That's not how it works.
No, agreed. And that's, so what would you say, you know, somebody considering reaching out to you, what's the best success? Where should I be to have the most success? Can you help me from zero, or is it?
I can help anybody. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, whether I'm taking your money or not, that's the other question. So if you're struggling in your business and you just need to get unstuck, reach out to me. Fill out that form. I'll talk to you. I'll give you my advice with all my years of experience on what I think you need to get to that next step. And what I tell you can get you there. It's really on you if you get there. And then after that, you know, I would say my ideal customer is probably 20,000 plus a month. Somebody who has a minimum of 2,000 a month in marketing spend, which should be about 10% of gross revenue. Those are the ones that I can do something with, that I can truly help right away. And that also vets them, because if you're doing 20K a month, you have a process for hiring. You know, I know that, because you wouldn't be at 20K a month if you didn't, unless you're just an amazing super solo cleaner, which they do exist.
Yeah. Or you found some clients with some really great pockets.
Yeah.
Really great pockets. Yeah. You know, if you're going to be cleaning houses, there's a whole plethora, right? There's the very, very rich, big, you can tell houses, and the not so big, rich houses. Which one are you going to market to, right? I keep thinking, I have this in airplane mode, so it's driving me absolutely crazy. And now I don't want this on. Stop. I apologize. I keep hearing it. You probably hear it too. You're like, how is that possible? I don't know how it's possible, but it's driving me crazy. So I apologize if you're hearing a ding over here. It's my stupid iPad that's on airplane mode. How is it dinging on airplane mode? Would the Apple gods tell me?
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, no. Housekeepers Podcast.
Right.
Ray Malaski is here with the best last name ever. Super valuable insight into what it takes to grow a business, scale a business. what is your, do you have like, I know you do a lot of free stuff. So like, what is your biggest, somebody new coming up, what's your biggest free giveaway?
Biggest free. So it depends. So here's a lot of people want to be commercial cleaning businesses, but don't understand that they have to actually go old school and do outreach to get those leads. So that's the biggest thing I see with commercial. Mm-hmm. Residential, the biggest thing I see is they don't know that there's low-hanging fruit that exists for them already. And low-hanging fruit is Google local service ads. And Google local service ads is basically an Angie's List and Home Advisor killer, right? So you'd go to Home Advisor, you'd pay your $50 per lead. They send them to 3 or 4 other providers. Well, Google local services charges you per lead, which is about $20, $18 to $23 per lead. And it only goes to you. I mean, like my clients are closing 50%. So your cost per acquisition on a lead, we're talking $40 and a biweekly clean at $150. That's $3,000 a year worth for you. Costs you $50 to acquire them.
That's pretty great. I was just talking with someone who, I think they're actually in Pennsylvania. Young guy, start a cleaning company, and he's trying to figure out how to, you got like, you get one, he does residential cleaning. So you get like one client in a nice neighborhood. How do you get more clients in that neighborhood? And that's a good question, right? Like, how do you keep expanding your current client base?
There's traditional and non-traditional methods. So, marketing falls in 2 things, inbound and outbound. So inbound marketing is when a customer comes to you. That's SEO, that's Google ads. They come to you. I can target a specific zip code in Google ads. So if you know, like you have a 20-mile radius and in this radius, there's these zip codes that you want to hit, we can do a bid adjustment so that our ads are showing more in that general location. But you still have outbound methods, and outbound methods still freaking work. The return isn't as scalable. It's not going to flood your inbox, but it's all about taking a chunk out of that market share and doing whatever you have to do that. And if it involves a little bit of inbound and outbound together, so be it. Don't be afraid to leave door hangers on those neighbors' doors. Don't be afraid.
100%.
Because
I am.
They can't buy from you if they don't know you exist.
If they don't know you exist, 1,000,000%. I am always looking, and I guess it's because I've been in the cleaning industry for so long, but I always find dirt. I can see debris, and every time I see it, I just think of opportunity. Right? I'm at Home Depot,
Sure.
And the parking lot's trash, and I'm thinking to myself, well, how could I bid this? It's not, because they're obviously not doing a good job getting their employees to clean the parking lot. So what if I could come through and do a sweep of this park? Could I rent a street sweeper? Can you rent those? Because if you can, I might. Like that's kind of how I think, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm a runner, and I'm training for some stuff. So I'm running through neighborhoods, and I'm running through some pretty upscale neighborhoods, and there's trash on the ground. There's soda bottles. There's a dog bag. People pick up their dog stuff, but then leave it on the ground, which I appreciate people put it in a bag, but then they leave it on the ground. All right. Well, I guess for somebody else to pick up the bag, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's baffling to me. But you're just running down these neighborhoods, and I'm seeing and it's not a ton, but it's enough to where it's noticeable. You're seeing the pieces of paper, you're seeing the dog poop bags, you're seeing the bottle cans, all that stuff. I think to myself, wouldn't it be an amazing strategy if I cleaned a house on this neighborhood to get my team here on some day that everybody's around, Saturday, whatever, and just all of us in company shirts with the company truck, and we just pick up we're going to make as much noise as possible. Be like the ice cream truck where you're playing music on the truck, and you're walking through and you're picking up garbage, and everybody goes, "What are you doing?" We have a client on the end of the street, and we're just helping picking up the street. We're just looking for more business. If you need your house cleaned, you have something, some projects that are going on, give us a call. Your big number on the side of the video. Like, wouldn't that be like a great guerrilla marketing tactic?
Absolutely. I mean, there's tons of ways to do this. And, it's, I forget what that show was. I just watched Undercover Millionaire. Have you seen that?
Undercover Billionaire.
Undercover Billionaire.
With
this
Grant
season
Cardone.
was with Grant Cardone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when that guy went out and hustled that mattress shop, I'm telling you, if you guys have not seen Undercover Billionaire, find it, download it, watch it. I mean,
a million percent.
This shows you strip these millionaires of everything they ever knew and had, and then make them build a business. I mean, that's the premise of what this is about. The
premise is they take away all their contacts. They take away all their money. They don't have any housing. They don't have anywhere to be. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have anyone to call. They give them a cell phone with no numbers in it. They give them $100 bill, and they give them a vehicle, and that's it.
That's all they got.
Their goal is within 90 days, 3 months, to make $1 million company.
Yeah.
And you see these guys hustle like their life depends on it.
I couldn't do it. I really don't think I can. I think I'm smart enough to, but I just don't think I could get my mind in that same place to do the things that they had to do. I really don't. God bless their soul. Like, Grant went into an RV shop and then found a place to sleep while he was in town.
They let him
sleep.
RV shop. They let him sleep in an RV they were selling.
Yeah. And then ended up driving the guy's car around and selling his own car. I mean, like, straight up hustler. That's it. And sometimes that's what it takes. That's some next level stuff there.
Did you see the first episode of the first season?
I did. Yeah.
With the original guy, the insurance guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'll put it in the show notes. But he started selling tires.
Yeah.
He found like an old abandoned whatever, and he's like, I bet I can sell these tractor tires. And he went from selling tractor tires to get a couple of bucks so he could stay in a hotel room one night, to buying a house, to flipping the house, to starting a barbecue restaurant in 90 days.
Now, Glenn was his name.
Glenn. Thank you, Glenn.
I can't remember his last name offhand, but I think he's in real estate. He's like a mortgage guy.
Oh, I thought it was insurance. But yeah, anyway, either way, he's here in New York.
Glenn Stearns.
Glenn Stearns, nice pull.
I don't even know who this guy is when this came on. And I'm like,
I never heard of him before either.
He's a billionaire. I don't even know who he is, and I'm like, I gotta watch this. And honestly, season 1 was better than season 2 in my opinion, because it was more honest. It was more.
You're only watching one person. In season 2 they're following 3 people, 2 women.
Yeah. But I think the business evaluations in season 3, I kind of thought were a little extreme.
Season 2. Let's not give away the ending.
Sorry. Yep. No, you're right. Season 2. Yeah, I thought they were a little bit extreme. The one that had the physical assets with the bar, that was okay. I was happy with that. But the other 2, I think they gave him $1 million for the show.
You got to think about Grant Cardone was selling, $60,000-$70,000 contracts, and in 90 days, I think he had like 12 of them.
Yeah.
So imagine for those of you out there who are saying there's no money and we're all poor and we can't pay our mortgage. Grant Cardone was selling $60,000 contracts, and in 90 days sold 12 of them. And by the way, he didn't have a physical product. He didn't even have a product.
Nothing.
He had nothing to sell.
They're like, what are you going to do? They're like, social media videos.
Yeah, he's like, I'll build your business with marketing. I'm going to do a Ray Malaski.
No, we're better than that. But video marketing has its plays. It definitely does, but it's got to be supported by, nobody's going to watch a video if they don't know that video's there. So now you've got 100%. Now you've got to push that video in front of your audience and say, watch continuously, and then, that's more like brand building, not necessarily lead generation, where, our strengths are lead generation. We generate leads, but Yeah, I mean, it was amazing and inspiration. Like, it makes you feel like, man, if I just worked a little bit harder in my business, I could make a huge freaking difference. And really, like, in today's environment, there's so much. I got friends that do Facebook drop shipping, and they're making 20 grand a month posting ads on Facebook, selling products that they don't even touch. I've got friends who do affiliate marketing where they rank websites for best mattress. And every time somebody clicks that link and goes to the website and buys, they get a commission on that. There's so many opportunities to make money in today's society. You just got to get your mind out there and look at them. And not everything's fake. A lot of these things are true, real opportunities, even though it seems too good to be true.
There is no better time to be in the cleaning industry. And I'll tell you why, for two reasons. Number one, because of the pandemic really put a spotlight on the need for clean and sanitary, right? There's a safety component to clean. And that's really been highlighted over the last 18 months, which is really good for us. That's number one. Number two, a lot of cleaning companies did not survive during the lockdown. Offices closed, schools closed, residential housing, people were home and they weren't having somebody come into their house because they weren't going to have a stranger come from one house to another with a mask on. They were like, stay away. I'm going to either live in filth or make a 15-year-old finally do it. And so a lot of those mom and pop, a lot of those small, not even mom and pop, there was a lot of big companies, cleaning companies that relied on a lot of Class A office space, a lot of schools that just simply went under because of the closures. And so now you couple, here it is, August 2021, and we have both a humongous need for cleaners, and we don't have a lot of companies doing it.
No, there's also a different, and this is crazy to even think I'm talking about this right now. There's a different component right now that hurts our industry more than COVID ever did. And that's hiring people. Every single one of my customers has an issue with hiring right now. So when COVID hit, I had one customer pause. Actually, I had two customer pause. One shut her business down. Well, actually, both of them shut their business down, but one came back and the other one didn't, out of 70 customers. So out of 70 customers, that's the percentage that went down due to COVID. The strong will survive. All right. They will persevere. They will make it through this stuff. Now, fast forward, we're a year and a half into this, right? And business is booming. I mean, the leads that are coming into my clients are they're double and triple what they were last year at this point because of the awareness that you're talking about. But now they can't handle them because they can't hire enough. The employees just aren't there. And now I've lost more clients during this phase because they just can't handle more leads. They can't, I've got guys that are spending $10,000 a month in Google ads. They're like, man, can you put that down to $500? Like, I can't even take another job. I'm booked out through the end of the year. Yeah. Opportunity is knocking.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And what's funny is, I was talking about my friend John. He also was talking about that hiring problem. He cleans commercial. And so his business is, really his business is from 6 to 9 p.m., 5 to 8. There's a 3-4 hour window at night, 5 days a week is when he usually is offering his services, because again, he cleans office buildings. And he only hires, or really only looks to hire, people who are already working.
Yeah.
Because trying to find people, winning the battle of getting somebody off the couch to work is a lot harder than getting somebody who's already working who wants extra money.
Absolutely. Totally.
It's an easier sale. And so for those of us, again, I work in long-term care and in healthcare. So we're looking for full-time employees. So we are legit trying to make that transition from couch to work. And it's a bear. Whereas if we were all part-time and it was nights, we could recruit for people who were already had a day job to be perhaps, I mean, a little easier. It's a little easier to get people who are already moving to move more.
Yeah, it's really, it's unprecedented. I've never seen it in my lifetime. I hope I never see it again. But, you know, again, the strong will survive. It's another challenge that we're faced against as in the cleaning industry. You know, I feel like we were lucky in many aspects with COVID when it came through because, you know, my restaurant friends, they weren't so lucky and a lot of them shut down. So we were in an industry that demand was, even though in some aspects it lost, other aspects, if you pivoted your business at the right time, there was a ton of opportunity to be made.
I got to tell you, in healthcare, we never got laid off. We never closed. We were 24/7, 7 days a week, entire pandemic. As a matter of fact, our biggest challenge was to get staff. We never, ever had a lack of revenue. Never.
Healthcare and government, you're safe.
Mm-hmm. Healthcare.
Washington, D.C. never has a downturn.
There is a little misnomer that healthcare is private run here in the United States. It's government. Healthcare is government. It's one of those things where healthcare, just like banks, there are some banks that are too big to fail. And that's true. And that whole concept of too big to fail, you know, you were talking a little earlier about the automobile industry. GM, Ford, they were too big to fail, which is why the government bailed them out. There are banks that are too big to fail, so that's why the government will continue to bail them out. There are hospitals that are too big to fail.
Yeah,
you know, it's going to be too big of a hit on the community, so the government won't let them fail. And so for that reason, there's always
the industry. I just wish it was a little bit more regulated than it is with that money that they give them. You know, maybe you don't get $100 million bonus this year, CEO. But I don't know. Who am I?
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. But I got to say that healthcare is really regulated, but not when it comes to that kind of thing. I think you're absolutely right. I had a nursing home owner tell me once, and he said, "Do you know why there's no money in long-term care?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Because the owners are too cheap." Oh, okay. There you go. From the mouth of an owner.
Right.
Because he wants to pocket too much. Okay. He said it. I didn't say it. I was like, I didn't think that was true, but perhaps it is. Yeah. All right.
You know, and you're going to run through this constantly in your business. And I see this a lot, especially in the Facebook groups, when they're talking about this customer thought my quote was too high. Not every customer is your ideal customer, and you really got to decide where you want to spend your time. Do you want to spend your time with somebody who is just going to drain your energy, or do you want to focus on the people that make you money? So that's a whole nother component to your sales side, you know, is filtering that out. I'm fortunate. I don't need to have 1,000 cleaning businesses. I need 100, you know, and I'm good in my life. My employees are fed, business is booming. My customers are happy. Their businesses are booming. So I don't need to be a $10 million, $20 million company to do that. So I have the time to do what I love to do. And that's talking with people in this industry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think you touched on something that's very important, and we'll get out of here because I know we're a little bit long here, but I just want to let this go. And that is, because I too belong to a lot of housekeeping groups and cleaning company groups, and there's a lot of newcomers, and you know the struggle with pricing is real. I mean, you spoke about it yourself, right? I mean, you kind of really lowballed yourself when you first began, and really learned a valuable lesson there. I got to say that I too have had that. Like there have been times when I would do anything for a bucket of chicken, right? Like you would have just said, you know, whatever it takes. I mean, I just want to get some food here. But pricing is how you determine the type of people you want to work with. I host a workshop. It's just a 3-day workshop on how to expand in healthcare, and it's $5,000. Do you know how many people can afford $5,000 to attend a 3-day workshop? Only those who are able to get into healthcare. Because see, I can't. If I charged you half that, let's say I go to $2,500, I'm giving you false hope. Because if you can afford 2,500, and it might be a little bit of a stretch for you, but you're like, you know what, it's 2,500. I think I can do it. We're going to be 2 days in, a day and a half in, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, I'm not ready for healthcare. There's no way. I don't have the infrastructure. So if you can't, that's my point, right? Like if you can't afford the fee, if you're trying to sell your customer this super low fee, and then you can't afford the gas to get there.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Right.
You're not helping you. You're not helping them. They're going to be getting a worse product than what you offered. Your reputation is going to go down. So with peace and love, I say to everybody in the cleaning industry, raise your rates.
Amen. Yeah. Especially now, supply and demand is there. Like, raise them.
And you know what's going to happen if you raise your rates? Honestly, you're going to give a better service. You're going to give a better product. And that's what we all want. I'm totally willing to pay extra. Give me extra.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll have happier employees. You'll be able to do more.
1,000,000%. But if you that's one of the biggest challenges, which is why in healthcare, I would never compete with another cleaning company in healthcare, because it's going to force me to lowball the other cleaning company that probably already lowballed to get in.
Yep.
And how many more lowballs do you get before I'm not even, now all of a sudden I've got a $30,000 a month revenue, which is about average, right? So one, whatever. Yeah, it's a, 30 to 50,000 a month, pretty average for a healthcare facility and billing. But if you bid a building at, a facility at 30,000 and it costs you 31,000, who's the loser here?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and you know how easy it is to spend 30 grand when you're having a staff of facility 7 days a week. I mean, it's payroll's our number one cost.
Always sell on value or opportunity, never on pricing.
1,000,000%, but your pricing has to make sense for you first.
Yes.
And then your client.
Yeah, it's like, what do I charge? Well, I don't know. What's your expenses? Where do you want to be? There's so many questions.
Backwards. Yeah, work backwards. A lot of people bid by square feet. I never bid by square feet. I like square feet as a reference, but I bid by what's it going to take me to do the job? How long is it going to take? How many man hours do I need? What's the supply going to be? How long am I going to be? How often? And then, that's where I begin. And then I talk about, all right, then how much is my profit on top of that? What makes sense for me? What's going to make me feel good? What's going to make the client feel good? What's going to make sure we're able to pay our employees a decent salary?
Yeah.
I can do this all day.
Is important. I'll tell you that.
I can do this all day.
Me too. Me too.
I really appreciate having you on the show. I really, really appreciate it. It's been super fun talking with you. And it sounds like you're the perfect person to help companies grow and scale and get more clients, because you actually did it from having your own housekeeping company.
Yeah.
You said, I'm going to start my own. And then you're like, wait, I got to do this. And how am I going to get these people in here? And what is SEO and what's Google ads? And how do I keep expanding? And then, is there a better way to come about the cleaning industry? I don't think so. I think you've got such a great understanding and experience behind you that it makes you so super valuable. That's why I super wanted to have you on the show, and I'm super glad that you were able to come on.
Well, I appreciate it, Ralph. Today I just hope I added some value into your listeners,
100%.
and if I can help them, I'd be glad to help them.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So where can people get a hold of you? Is it getmoreclicks.com or getcleaningclicks.com?
Yes, getcleaningclicks.com. Complete the strategy session. It'll auto prompt you to book a meeting. You'll see some of my sales automations go off and fire. I can make that happen in your business too. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, we can automate a lot of things, take some of that manual labor out of the process, but not only that, add accountability and increase your sales percentages.
I love it. And make sure when you go to getcleaningclicks.com that you tell Ray that Ralph sent you.
Amen.
Full circle. Housekeepers Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. For me and Mr. Ray, I don't know why I called you Mike earlier. The reason I called you Mike is because I was trying to figure out how to say Malaski.
That M got you perplexed.
That M is just like Malaski. And I didn't want to get it wrong, but it's a little bit of a a mouthful when you look at it, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get Malaski a lot and all kinds of variants.
Yeah. Ray Malaski, getcleaningclicks.com, the Housekeepers Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this show, please tell your friends about it. Please share. Please subscribe. Please write a review. Hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or email me, whatever you want to do. Give me a call. I don't care. Love to hear from you. That's it. Ray, thank you so much again.